Okay, so we're back again. If you're watching this, remember to click subscribe. She's back again. I hope you're ready. Okay, so we're back again. Kat, how you doing?
Yeah, really good, thanks. I'm excited to be back again.
I love that. So for the people who may not have saw you on part 1, can you just introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about you, and we can build off there, really?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Kat. I'm 31 and my whole personality is running in the gym, pretty much. And I'm a mum of 1. And there isn't much else really, and I'm a nurse. So, yeah.
I love that. So you speak about this running that, you know, have you always been into running?
No. I'd always tell everyone I'm not a runner, I can't run.
How about now?
I'm a runner.
And?
I can run.
I like it. You know what's mad yet? Every time that I open up my phone now on Instagram, all I see is running clubs everywhere. All I see is people running. And you know what? For the first time in my whole life, I absolutely love it. Because it's inspired a lot of people who were sitting down on the sofa, making up so many excuses to now get off the sofa and do something about it. What is it for you that you gain from running?
I think it's just a mindset for me. So when I get into the zone and I run, I'll put a podcast on. So a lot of people listen to music, or a lot of people that you do talk to that run like longer distances will listen to podcasts, and I love it. I feel like it's a time for me. I get up a lot of the time, 5:30 in the morning. The birds are tweeting, the sun's just coming up. Now it's obviously getting into that nice weather. And I just got time for me, and I'm alone most of the time. Sometimes I'll run kind of with a friend or not, but when I'm alone and I listen to a podcast, it's just time for me and starts my day right.
And you said that, is that like something that you do every day, or is it like every other day, or when you can fit it in? Like, how does that work for your week?
So at the moment I'm on a plan. So I use an app and I'm on a plan at the moment. So I run kind of 3 or 4 times a week. My plan, I set it up for 3 times a week. Otherwise it's just too much impact on the body.
You know, you're running, is it short distances that you're doing 3 times a week, or long distances, or is it or does it vary? Like, how does that look?
So it varies. So I'll do like an easy run, which will be like 5K, for instance. And then I'll do like interval running, and that'll be about 6K.
And when you speak about like interval running, what do you mean by that?
So that'll be like a 1K warm-up at like a conversational pace, and then I'll absolutely blast it for 1K. And then I'll kind of, you know, settle for a minute, just give myself a little bit of a rest for about 0.5, 1K. And then I'll blast it again and just do that, kind of repeat that a couple of times. So whatever the plan says that week, I'll kind of follow. And that's really helped, I think, my cardiovascular endurance and being able to run for longer distances and being able to breathe a little bit more.
You know, like, I was in the gym this weekend, and one of the members were talking to me about nasal breathing, where you're breathing through your nose. Have you mastered that yet?
Absolutely not, no. And that's the most frustrating thing. So everyone will say to me, I went out for a long run with one of my closest friends, and she said to me, breathe through your nose and out your mouth. I was like, I can't. I have not mastered that. And I feel like it makes me need to breathe more. So I just can't do it.
I literally, if it was me that was doing that, I'm like so dopey when it comes to like that element of stuff. I can imagine breathing in and just breathing in a fly. Nah, that's not for me. Have you ever been in that position where you've drank something and it's gone down the wrong way?
Yeah, and I've started to choke.
Yeah. That would be me with breathing. That would be me when I'm breathing, when I'm running.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a real hard thing to master. And I think running looks so easy. It's free. You run out of your door and, you know, it's free. But there is a lot of difficulties and you know, kind of things that are difficult when you run out of the door, such as like the impact on your limbs. I have never experienced the impact that I feel from running. Yeah. And I've weight trained for, you know, a long period of time now. And at this point, kind of, I've never experienced injuries like it. So that's something that I've had to take.
Have you like had any like shin splints or anything like that?
Yeah, so I've currently got shin splints. Yeah, and a lot of people will say it's to do with your trainers and the way that you're running. So I've had like a gait analysis where they check the way that you run and how your feet touch the floor. And they kind of said at first you're neutral, and as time's gone on, I think it's changed slightly. So I just kind of got some insoles that changes the way that your feet land.
And has that supported you?
A lot better than I was, and I managed to kind of run a long distance a week ago, and didn't have any pain whatsoever from kind of hit like my foot hitting the floor in the shin splints. But I think it swings and roundabouts with it. Yeah.
I know that we're going to touch into you completing a half a marathon last week. Yeah. But before we touch on that, how long were you training for this?
It's actually quite a funny story. So I started Couch to 5K on New Year's Day, quit the vapes. The vapes went, and I was like, right, I need to do something for myself. So New Year's Day, started Couch to 5K. Honestly, if anyone is thinking of starting to run, Couch to 5K is definitely the way to do it.
What did it do for you?
So it just created more of it was a routine. So I'd run like 3 times a week. You have 3 runs a week, and it would just create kind of me being able to run for longer periods of time. So when I first started, it was a minute that you had to run for. Okay. Do you know how hard that was? Running for a minute. It's so hard. And then you run for like 30 seconds. Sorry, you walk for 30 seconds and then you run. And I actually got to the end of the first week and I was like, I don't think I'll ever be able to complete this, because it was so horrendous, because I'm just not, I didn't have that cardiovascular endurance at that time. But as time goes on, your body starts to adapt and you start to be able to do more. And I think mentally your mind gives up before your body.
Yeah. I'm a massive believer in that. Like, there's a lot of books that I go through and read and take little chunks away, and all we can see is the mind is a very powerful thing when used correctly, but it's also very powerful when used incorrectly as well. Because I can convince myself, and it gets to the point in literally you can almost convince yourself that yes, you can do something, but you can also convince yourself that yes, you can't do something. And like, your support network for me is huge. It has to be not the support network around you cannot just agree with you. They have to challenge you. But they have to make sure that the steps that you're taking are for the better of yourself, or you will be going backwards. And I think when we look at the element of running, like if you had people around you who were negative, when you go to them with these hard, challenging thoughts of I can't do this, they would agree with that fact, because that's all they can see, negativity. But I'm happy that I can see that 6 months later, you're saying that your light run is a 5K, but you started struggling on 1 minute.
5K was a dream at that point of like, being able to complete a 5K was like, that would be amazing if I could ever do that. And I remember we sat down one day and we talked about that and was like, what's going to be your goal this week? I was like, I don't know, complete a 5K. Like this month, that was the discussion that we had. And I was like, maybe complete a 5K. Now that's kind of like, that's an easy run, and it's not always easy. Let's not kind of get it twisted, but that is in the plan, an easier run.
So you're going through this process of, starting this Couch to 5K. At what point did you think, I'm now going to book half a marathon?
So I think I did the plan for about 4 or 5 weeks consistently. And that's what I'll always say, kind of like the consistent approach to it will pay off in anything that you do in life. But that was kind of, I know people that have done it for a week and then fallen off the wagon.
Why do you think people fall off the bandwagon?
Because it's tough. It's challenging and it isn't easy. And I think I'd already got it in my mind. I'm very stubborn in some ways. Yeah. And sometimes it's really helpful in my life and sometimes it's really not. But in some ways, in that mindset, I was like, I'm going to run a 5K and I'm going to do it whether I like it or not. So I think in that moment it was like, well, I need to get out for a run. I've got to do it. To now be sitting here and saying that's my safe place. Yeah. That's my happy place where I run and I listen to a podcast, and that's the time that I have when I'm by myself. So I think it got to about 4 or 5 weeks in, and I then went and ran with Rock Up.
Love that.
I ran my first 5K. I stopped halfway around, and because you've got bibs with your name on the back of it, everyone's constantly like, yes, Kat, come on, Kat, you can keep going.
It's and then support network again, isn't it?
Huge. So then I start running again, and then I complete my first 5K. My first 5K was about 37 minutes.
Yeah.
They talk about in the population of women, average is about 37 minutes to complete a 5K. So for me, it was, in that moment, it was an achievement, a huge achievement. But like, you know what? I've got a PB now.
Yeah,
I can beat that next time, and that's just as it went.
Consistent approach again, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then one day, me and my friend, we went out for a run in the morning, and we ran 7K, and we looked at each other and was like, should we sign up for a half marathon? And like, we felt invincible at that moment.
Oh, wow.
And we said, let's do it. It's something to train for. It's something to keep us focused. And that's how it happened. I mean, as the longer runs got longer and longer, we were like, what are we doing? But, you know, did it. So
yeah, it's amazing, that isn't it? When your mind is in that position of I want more. And it's a characteristic trait that you explained already, which is you're stubborn. When you want something, you're going to do everything within your power to get that.
Definitely.
And in this instance, in this exercise, it pays off really, really well. So you've started your training now. Is there any point? What are your direct thoughts? Like, when you envision yourself running that half a marathon, before you had ran it, what did you think?
I think in my mind, it was more like an achievement for me.
Yeah.
But also, as you know, I'm a mother, and I think actually, you know, my son absolutely loved the fact that I was going out running, and the fact that I was I've got energy and I can run. We had this conversation. I can run after him on a bike, those kind of things. And actually, each week he's like, "Are you running this week, Mummy? How far have you gone this week?" Those things are things that will stay with me forever, that he's proud of me.
Yeah.
And all I thought about was at that finish line, having my parents there with my little boy.
Amazing.
Just smiling and knowing that I've completed that and that they're proud of me.
That is.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely
that
priceless.
moment, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute, but it will stay with me forever.
Yeah. That is priceless. Definitely.
So I think in those moments I was like, you know what? I want to stick to this to show myself that I can do it. And my little boy, that you know what, whatever you do or want to do and you stick to it and put your mind to, you can do. It's just you'll take a couple of falls here and there. It's not easy. And the journey is not linear.
Yeah.
But you'll get there some way, somehow. And we did it.
I love that. Okay, so it's the morning of the half marathon. You've woken up. What's going through your mind? Like, take me to that place. Let me feel it.
I woke up excited, and I think what's really interesting is I've just got to the part in the book of 5-second rule. It talks about changing anxiety to excitement.
Correct.
And I say I just got to it. I just got to it just before the half marathon, and it tries to make you reframe the part about feeling anxious to excitement. So I'm going to describe feeling excited on the morning of the half marathon, trying to reframe that anxiety to excitement. So I think I felt excited. I'd already the night before laid out everything I needed, and I went through it probably 3 times. So everything that I needed for the half marathon and along that kind of the morning of, and what I'd need after and during. So I woke up, did kind of the same breakfast as I eat every single day, which is peanut butter on a thin bagel with banana.
Love that.
I have that every single day without fail, and that's what I've trained kind of with, knowing that would sit comfortably on my stomach.
And
I
wouldn't run on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then kind of 700 mils of electrolytes in the morning, just to know that I'd got enough fuel in me before that morning. Sat down, had a moment, sat and listened to a podcast and kind of just had a moment of half an hour piece. I got myself up earlier than I needed to so that I could have that time.
So what time were you looking at?
So I was being picked up at 8:30, so I got myself up at 6:30 that morning, knowing that I could just have enough time. So I even had a bath that morning. And
do you have a bath every day then?
I do, yeah. I absolutely love having a bath.
I don't get it how people don't have baths every day. Like me, yeah. Listen, I don't care who's watching this, yeah. See me in my bath? I put the rubber duck in there. Listen, my bubbles are in there. Listen, if I've had a heavy leg day, which I'm doing a lot of recently, I'm throwing that Radox in there.
I feel like it's the most underrated recovery.
100%.
And I feel like it's not talked about enough, but it is such a good recovery. I could sit in the bath for hours, listen to a podcast, read a book, or just chill in the bath. And actually, it's kind of time where I don't utilize my phone
At all,
either.
not needed.
So it's kind of put away, and I just sit and just chill. Yeah.
So what happens after the bath then?
So I have a bath, kind of, then get myself together. It probably took me about half an hour to do my hair.
All of that hair, really.
I haven't even got that much. It was just more about like trying to make sure it's stuck back, no flyaways, the girls will know. And then just made sure that, again, 5 million times that I had everything I needed for kind of the start line, during and after.
So did you drive there or did you get picked up?
No, so I got picked up. My friend's boyfriend picked us up and drove us. So we were able to park at his office, which was great, and able to kind of get changed there and have a moment kind of there and just feel at peace, really. There was no stress that morning. Not one part of me felt stressed. I felt excited. And that's the way we'll frame it. There was definitely a bit of anxiety there, naturally. But I think the way that I managed that was I've trained for this.
Yeah.
I know I can do it.
Yeah.
I've trained for it.
Yeah.
So
it's that characteristic trait again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when you want something, you're going to do absolutely everything within your power because you're consistent with it as well. It has to come. So what, like at what point do you get your number?
So you get your number in the post kind of like a week before. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can, some people that didn't come through would pick it up like the day before or the day of. But my number had already come through. So it was all ready to go.
What was your number?
7562.
Is any of them your favourite numbers or?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
No. 7562. My best
Can't
friend
make
was.
something up or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough. So you've got your number on.
Yeah.
So what time did you start your run?
So it was at 10:10.
Nice.
So 10:10 was a nice way to start it. So started at 10:10. We the atmosphere was incredible. And do you know what? Not many people will talk about Birmingham in a nice way or kind of talk
Positive.
Yeah, positively or with love about their home city. It is my home city. And I felt proud to be kind of within all those crowds. The atmosphere was crazy. The amount of people that are there. And everyone's just smiling. Everyone's got a smile on their face and everyone's excited.
Amazing,
and you can tell that. Yeah.
I think it's amazing how something so simple like running can build such a great atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that for me is like, I've never experienced that. I've never ran half marathon. I've never ran a marathon either. I've never thought about it either. But to live it through you is amazing.
And it is literally in that moment an atmosphere that you've never experienced. I can't describe it. It's just an atmosphere of everyone's just happy and there's people cheering for people and everyone just wants everyone to do well. And it's lovely.
Do you think that helped you through your process of doing the half marathon? Seeing all these other people in front of you, seeing the people behind you, seeing the people next to you. Do you think that helped you, the crowd?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Well, it started at 10:10, so that was when we obviously went off. And 1 minute before that, I happened to have a message off a really good friend of mine who messaged me kind of that had talked about, I know that you'll be kind of getting to the start line now and I know that you'll smash this and whatever you put your mind to, you'll do. And in that moment, it was just a quick reminder of, I'm on the right path. I'm where I should be right now. And I will smash this because...
Right person, right time.
Yeah, absolutely. So in that moment, it was just perfect timing.
Did you run with your Apple Watch as well?
Yeah, so I ran with my Apple
Love
Watch. I ran with my AirPods. I've never ran with them before. I always wear those big AirPod Max.
Big old things.
Yeah, but
my Lord.
I thought because of the heat and whatever else, I didn't want the sweat and it was a bit, they're too expensive. They're too nice. So I wore my AirPods and usually when I run, I put my phone on sleep mode so that no one can contact me through it or call me through it. But for the half marathon, I didn't put my phone on sleep. I just kept it open. And if you've got AirPods, you'll know that the messages read through your AirPods. So I told people to message me through the half marathon. And there's also trackers so that people, all like my nearest and dearest, I told them a number and they could track me through the app. So they were tracking where I was at
Wow.
and then like sending me messages.
Oh, wow.
So they were reading through my AirPods, obviously like talking to me whilst I was running.
Oh, wow.
And I cannot tell you how much that got me through. Like, it's emotional talking about it. Like, I got a message from one of my best friends, kind of, she saw that I was at 1 hour and she was like, I bet you're at halfway now. I wasn't. I was hoping to be at that point, but I wasn't. I'm sure you're at halfway now. I'm so proud of you. Keep smashing it, girl. So like, you know, little bits and pieces like that. I mean, the heat, first and foremost, absolutely floored me because I've never trained in heat. So from January up until now, and people say if you don't train in heat, you don't realise kind of how much it'll take it out of you because obviously I'm sweating way more than I'd normally. I can't get enough fluids in me. I don't think they had prepped for enough, like knowing that the heat was going to be like that. So the water stations were few and far between. So when we got to the first water station, I was just like, give me as much water as possible. Just give me something. And I also, I'd been told numerous times, don't go off out the blocks too quickly. Start with negative splits. So it means that you start slower so that you can end quicker almost, you know, kind of like your pace can get quicker as you go on. I didn't listen to that advice, got caught up in the atmosphere, you know, but we live and we learn.
Yeah, but how did you know that you were moving too quick?
I think first and foremost, I was out of breath. I felt fatigued. I also felt like I'd got loads of lactic acid building up in my body. I'd got pins and needles all over me. And I was just feeling kind of like, I need some water first and foremost. And then look at my watch.
Oh, wow.
And was like, wow. No. I was like, no, I'm moving too quick. And one of my friends actually texted me and it came through my AirPods and said, your pace is amazing. Oh my God. If she'd have known at that moment
that you were moving
that
way
pace
too quick.
was too quick for how far I had left to go, then yeah.
So walk me through these emotions then throughout that run. What's going through your mind?
So the first 10K, although I knew I'd gone out too quick, I had it was just through Birmingham and through the city centre, there's a lot of atmosphere. So there's a lot of people around and it just felt exciting. I saw a lot of people that I knew kind of running as well. So everyone's like saying hi, you know. And then I got to Pershore Road, and if you've ever drove down the Pershore Road, it doesn't feel very far in the car. I'll never look at that road the same ever again. It's the longest strip of road. And at that moment, it was difficult. I said goodbye to my friend and said to her, you need to go. I have got the most amount of pins and needles and just need to just give myself a second. So in that moment, I stopped, got myself a gel on board, and then just took a moment to myself and then ran, and she went left in that moment, and it was fine. But from that moment then the mental battle started because you're not with someone, you're not running side by side with someone, you haven't got their kind of, you know, them saying to you, keep moving, it's fine, we've got it together. So that's when the mental battle started. And then I ran kind of all the way down Pershore Road, and then there's one hill that everyone talks about, which is
what do they call it?
Is it Selly Park Road, I think, or Selly Park or something? Oh my gosh.
That goes like up like this?
It's like literally like this, and everyone gets to it and you can hear everyone go, so kind of like, you know, ran up that, eventually got to the top. I walked half of it, I'm not going to lie, and then kind of ran to the top of that. And I knew that I'd got friends at mile 8, and I knew that people were there. They'd text me to say, I'm at mile 8, I'm waiting for you. So as soon as I got around that corner, I knew mile 8 was literally just up there. So I was fine. I knew that I was going to be all right. So I ran to them, gave them a cuddle, and a kind of, her little boy ran to me and gave me a big cuddle, and then kind of ran from there. But the emotions, it was the most amount of a mental battle I think I've ever faced. In that moment, no one will know if I don't complete it. That moment run through my head up.
At what point did that start?
Probably around 15K, which is wild because for me, I've ran 18K. Yeah. I've trained at 18K and not had a problem. So at 15K, I was like, what is wrong with you, Kat? Like, why are those thoughts coming by? So I just kind of obviously continued, just kept going. And then I finally get to Cannon Hill Park. I think it's not far now. I've got 5K. 5K, I can do that with my eyes closed these days. So I run into Cannon Hill Park and I get a text off my dad that comes through saying, dig in, honey, we're dead proud of you. Honestly, the tears started to roll and I was like, I've got no choice. I've got to go now. So I run round Cannon Hill Park and I see a photographer. And at that moment, I was literally like, I hate this. What am I doing? I just plastered a big smile on my face. And then obviously when the photos come back, everyone's like, you look like you're having the time of your life. I absolutely wasn't. And then I get back onto kind of the main strip, back into Birmingham, kind of coming into Digbeth. And there's an old guy, he must have been 90. And at that point, I was like, I want to stop. Like, I've got 1K left. 1K. That is nothing.
Final 1K.
Yeah, like nothing. But everything in me said, you can't complete this. Like, my legs were in pieces. I could not get enough water on board. There was no water stations on the last 5K. And the heat was a lot. And this old man runs past me and I looked at him, I was like, nah, I'm not having that.
How old is he?
I'm talking like 88, 90.
And he's in the half marathon?
Yeah, he's doing the half marathon.
And he's just ran past you?
He's just ran past me.
On the final 1K?
On the final 1K.
And now your mind switches?
Yeah, I'm like, nah, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I was like, oh God. So I started to run and a girl stopped and there was 500 metres left. And I looked at her and she looked really fit, young girl. And I said to her, 500 metres, you can do that with your eyes closed. Come on, girl. And she looked at me and she was like, okay. And we ran together to the end, to the finish line. Never met her before. But as I ran into the finish line, my dad's there, my little boy's there, my mum's there. My dad is bawling, his eyes out. My little boy's like, yay, mummy! And obviously get over the finish line. And the girl comes to find me and she came over to me, she said, I didn't know how I was going to complete that. I was going to walk to the finish line, so thank you. And it's like, everyone wants everyone to do well. Everyone wants everyone to win. And I feel like that is the community.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to do better than the next person. That's just how it feels.
I think in this atmosphere that you have created or that you're amongst, it's almost like you get empowered because everybody's got that finish line. And it doesn't matter where somebody starts. It doesn't matter how fast you go. It doesn't matter how slow you go. You need to make sure that you finish that line. And the element of comparison of that lady who you met, who you don't know, on that last 500 meters, it's also very much reflective on who you are as a person. And even though your thoughts could easily have held you back, you weren't going to allow that next person to feel that energy.
Definitely. And I feel like the biggest thing that I live by is comparison is the thief of joy.
100%.
Like, if you compare yourself to everyone, you're not going to be the best at everything that you do in life. But actually, it doesn't matter if you've done the best that you can achieve in that moment. That's all that matters. Absolutely.
That is all that matters.
Yeah.
And, even there's a saying that goes along the line of this, even on days where you can't give 100% and you can only give 40, that actually is your 100% on that day. Definitely.
And I think a lot of the time is your mind will give up before your body gives up. 100%. Every single time, like, my mind had given up with 4 or 5K left to go in the half marathon. My body wasn't there. Although I was feeling it, I knew I can run these distances. I've done it before. I've run 18K. What's 3K on top of 18K? It's nothing. But it's a big mental challenge, isn't it? And I overcame it and we lived to see another day.
Okay, so going back to, seeing that guy, the older guy running past you, like, walk me through the emotion and what that did for you.
I think it reminded me in that moment that it doesn't matter where you are in your life and what stage you are in your life. You can achieve anything that you put your mind to. And I think it more in that moment inspired me and motivated me to keep going, because if this man who's probably double my age, more so double my age, can run in that way, how can I not do that and push past all of that mental battle? Because I'm sure along his way, he's probably fighting the same mental battle that I was. So I think it's more about kind of just using that as motivation for me to know that actually anyone can do anything.
Anybody can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's down to the choices that people make. He chose that day, just like everybody else that day that signed up to the half marathon and started it, that he will complete it. It didn't matter that maybe his knee was hurting him or he had his limitation and he is older than a lot of other people there. He committed to that. And I think we're in a time frame now where people have so much problems with commitment in any way, shape and form.
I think across the board.
Across the
I think
board.
that is become the social norm now,
Yes.
isn't it? That commitment is pretty airy-fairy
Yeah.
and it's not kind of there. But when you commit to something, you can complete it. There is going to be highs, there are going to be lows, there are going to be knockbacks, but it's about knowing where you're going and what the
100%.
end goal is.
Yeah, 100%. So you've completed let's say you're 100 meters now away from that finish line. What's going through that mind?
I knew I could do it. I just needed to get past all of those mental battles that I had throughout it. It was the most humbling experience running that in that heat as well.
Why was it humbling for you?
Because I've gone out, I've run 18k on a Sunday morning with a Sunday long run morning group that go out at 7:30 in the morning. I've run 18k, no problem. Didn't even didn't hardly break a sweat. Go and sauna after and then go about my day. 18k. That's 3 more K and then it's a half marathon. So actually I walked into that thinking, I'm good. This is gonna be not a breeze, but it's gonna be okay. Like I can do it. To then get to obviously the stage that I was, 10, 11k in, I was in a bad way and in my head. So I think that's why it humbled me, because actually I thought it was going to be an easier process than it actually was in that moment, I think.
And that's it's really good to take away that point, really. I think when people jump onto something that is challenging, there's a level of adrenaline as well. And maybe that's something that you didn't anticipate before, but that adrenaline can burn you out so bad. But one of the biggest things for me taken away from hearing your experience and feeling like I am there at that start line with you and I am there during that race is that mindset is powerful. When you have made up your mind to do something like what you spoke about earlier on in this podcast, you can actually do it. And sometimes putting yourself in vulnerable positions just solidifies again that you can do whatever you put your mind to. And that's a battle that many people fight and never, never, ever win. But to sit across from the table from you and see somebody who will fight that fight but will also come to a conclusion and will still win, it's empowering. So now, you know, what can you see at that finish line? You're 50 meters away now.
Just my little boy clapping for me, like, yay, mummy, you know, in that moment was just that was it for me. I've done this to know that I can do something for myself, but also to show him that whatever you do in your life and put your mind to, you can complete it. And you can not only complete it, you can smash it in many ways.
So what do we say to parents or mums that say that they haven't got time?
I think first and foremost, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. So it's about how we use our time effectively. In January, I would never have even imagined being able to run 5k, let alone a half marathon.
Look at you now.
Exactly. And that's where we're at now. So it's about sticking to something, putting your mind to it and consistently trying to work towards an end goal.
Exciting. So, Kat, what's next?
A full marathon in Amsterdam in October this year.